Hi everyone, Mimi Lazaro here again for Bobco Video. We're here with Ken Goewey. Ken, you're here with the ACOT Classic, if you will, old timers for tonight.
Yeah, we're proud of being old timers. You know, we've earned our stripes.
You have.
That's right. We had to be successful in business first, so then we could go racing. We couldn't do it when we were younger.
Yeah, you know, and I think a lot of guys these days put the racing before the business.
Right, and family too. We had to raise 4 children, and insurance companies when you have a major franchise and a dealership, they don't like racing. You know, the owner racing. I mean, if it's all right if a guy at tech wants to do it or a salesperson, but not the owner.
Now, tell me a little bit about how you're feeling here today. You excited, or are you kind of just like, I'm going to go out there and do a couple laps?
My last venture out was down last month to Mountain Speedway down in the Poconos. That's a 5-hour drive each way, and we were about ready to go out on the track, and it rained, and it continued to rain for the whole afternoon. And then it rained the next day, so we were a little disappointed. So this is actually the first outing for me this year. So we've got a few more. We'll be at Malta a little later on in August.
Okay, now you got 2 cars here tonight. Who you got driving your other car?
Ken Van Wert. We work well together, and he likes driving the midget. And that's 79 Edmonds with a number plate on it. And this one is a Weld copy with a 350 Chevy and a 4-barrel 750 carburetor on it, no injection.
Okay.
So they'll run on pump gas, but I do use racing fuel because they just run a little smoother.
Now, I know you're helping your son Brian with his dealership business, but what keeps you coming back here?
Yeah, well, it's just something that I started out when I was about 12 years old riding a bicycle to Burden Lake Speedway, which was I lived right at the Four Corners in West Sand Lake, so that was probably about maybe 8 miles from my house. And we would watch the jalopy races there right after the Second World War. And Garstang was the guy that operated the track, and he had a fleet of cars that had drivers most of them were from West Sand Lake. Okay. So that was my beginning. And actually the first car that we sponsored was when NASCAR came up to run at Malta when it was pavement, and it was the NASCAR Northern Tourer, and we sponsored Bobby Allison's car, and we have photographs of that. And then they very nicely, I was driving a Daytona with the wing on the back as a demo then, and they lowered the torsion bars to the point where I couldn't even get in the garage. And they said, you got to get the nose down. You got to get the nose down. So after they left, I put it back up in the air because you couldn't even get in the gas station with the car. So that was our experience with NASCAR. And then we had a Dodge Colt, 72 Dodge Colt. That was a champion spark plug series, and that was an advance race with Trans Am. And we raced all around the country, Lime Rock, Daytona, Road Atlanta. We were leading in the points the last race at Lime Rock, and the driver, Bruce Cargill, had to go around a wreck, and it was at that point the bridge crossed the track, so it had high sides. So he ran up the side and he rolled the car, and of course it was upside down long enough for the oil to run out, so we were done. But we still finished second, and we didn't go to Phoenix and we didn't go to California with the car. We only went as far as the Mississippi. And that was enough expense.
Yeah, right.
And that was with a Dodge Colt. But we had won the car and driver race the year before, and we won 20 grand at that race. So we used that for the seed money to start the National Series. And that's actually where the showroom stock grew from, as it came out of that race.
All right.
But we had to beat about 10 or 12 ringers from Car and Driver magazine that everybody gave them cars so they get a write-up. But Bruce pushed his way around that track, and he pushed his way right to first place.
You know, you got a lot of history in race cars and cars. You know, you're just full of that history, and I think you've rubbed that off on your kids as they're involved with racing and in cars, and you know, it's really a family thing with you.
Yeah, we're really car guys through and through.
Yeah, you are.
My dad started in a 24-hour gas station down at the foot of 9 and 20.
All right.
And my mother didn't like that. They weren't married at that point, but she wanted a regular job, 9 to 5. So she answered an ad for the Packard dealer for a lube boy, and that was 9 to 5. So he went there, and then he became a salesman, and then he left there and went with Albany Garage, and then he was there 10 years, and then he started the three of us, my mother and I, and he started the Dodge store in Troy.
All right. Wow.
So that's,
that's
50,
the Goewey history.
53 years ago.
That's the Goewey history. This is the man, Ken Goewey, learned it from his dad, and he's carrying that tradition and sharing that down the generations into his family. So, Ken, we wish you luck here tonight and have a lot of fun out there.
It's always great to talk to you, dear.
Yes, you too. Folks, that's Mr. Goewey.